Have you ever wondered how extreme winter conditions could alter the course of warfare? Picture the Eastern Front during World War II, a battlefield unlike any other, its most distinguishing feature being the harsh, unforgiving winter. It was here, amidst the biting cold and snow-capped landscapes, that one of the most brutal and consequential conflicts of the war was fought. The Eastern Front was not merely a battlefield, it was a test of endurance, a struggle for survival against the elements as much as against the enemy. The winter was not just an external condition, it was a formidable adversary, its presence shaping the tactics and strategies of the war. It was not uncommon to see soldiers wrapped in layers of clothing, their faces covered in frost, their breath visible in the freezing air. In this frosty theater of war, the Soviets had a unique advantage. They were not strangers to the winter's wrath. They had lived through it, endured it, and had learned to fight in it. Their extensive experience in winter warfare, honed over years of battling the elements, was their secret weapon. The Soviets didn't just survive the winter, they adapted to it. They used the snow to their advantage, camouflaging their troops and using the frozen terrain for quick maneuvering. The cold, which was once a foe, became an ally, a part of their strategy. They knew how to move quietly in the snow, how to use it for cover, how to turn the harsh conditions into a weapon against the unprepared. The winter was a double-edged sword. It was harsh, relentless, and unforgiving. But for those who knew how to wield it, it was a powerful tool. For the Soviets, it was a strategic advantage, an integral part of their war strategy. So you see, the winter was not just a season on the Eastern Front. It was a player, an active participant in the conflict. To understand the battles fought here, one must understand the role the winter played. It was not just a backdrop, it was a part of the narrative. Indeed, the frozen landscapes of the Eastern Front were not just a challenge, but a strategic advantage for the Soviets. As the German forces launched their offensives, they faced an enemy well-versed in the language of winter warfare. So began one of the most infamous chapters in the annals of World War II. The German forces, under the command of Adolf Hitler, embarked on a campaign of expansion, their eyes set on the vast territories of the Soviet Union. Initially, the German offensives were met with considerable success. The blitzkrieg tactics, so effective in the early stages of the war, seemed to be working once again. City after city fell, and it seemed as though nothing could halt the German juggernaut. But then, the Russian winter began to set in. The Germans, so adept at conventional warfare, found themselves ill-prepared for the harsh realities of a Soviet winter. The biting cold, the snow-covered landscapes, the freezing rivers, all of these elements conspired to create a battlefield unlike any other. The German forces' lack of preparation for winter warfare became painfully apparent. Their tanks and vehicles struggled to navigate the snow-covered terrain, their weapons frequently jammed in the freezing temperatures, and their soldiers, clad in uniforms ill-suited for such extreme cold, began to succumb to frostbite and hypothermia. The Soviet forces, on the other hand, were no strangers to the brutal winters of the Eastern Front. They had not just survived, but thrived in these conditions, using the snow and ice to their advantage. They knew how to keep their weapons functioning in the cold, how to move silently through the snow, and how to use the landscape to their advantage. In the face of such adversity, the German forces began to falter. Their initial momentum was lost, their progress slowed, and their casualties began to mount. The harsh winter conditions of the Eastern Front, so alien to the invaders, had become a strategic advantage for the defenders. The chilling winters of the Eastern Front proved to be a formidable adversary to the German forces. The battlefields of the Eastern Front had become a frozen hell, a place where the cold was just as deadly as the enemy's bullets. This was a cold encounter indeed, one that would shape the course of the war and leave an indelible mark on the annals of history. While the Germans struggled, the Soviets found ways to turn the harsh climate into a weapon of war. The Soviets had a unique advantage in the Eastern Front's winter warfare. This advantage was born from their understanding of their homeland's brutal climate and their ability to adapt to it. The Soviet Army's equipment was designed to withstand the freezing temperatures. Soldiers were equipped with quilted jackets and felt boots, known as valenki, to keep them warm. They also wielded weapons, specifically designed to function in the cold, where German weaponry often jammed or failed. Tactics were also tailored to the winter conditions. The Soviets used the terrain and weather to their advantage, utilizing blizzards for cover during attacks and frozen lakes as pathways for quick troop movements. They also mastered the art of camouflage, with white winter uniforms blending seamlessly into the snow-covered landscapes. Training was another area where the Soviets excelled. Soldiers were taught to survive and fight in extreme cold, learning how to build snow shelters, use skis for mobility, and avoid frostbite and hypothermia. This training allowed them to operate effectively in the harsh winter conditions, where others struggled to survive. The impact of this adaptation to winter warfare was evident in the Eastern Front's key victories. The Battle of Moscow, fought during one of the coldest winters on record, saw the Soviets halt the German advance towards their capital. The Germans, unprepared for the extreme cold, suffered heavy losses, while the Soviets used their winter warfare expertise to their advantage. The Battle of Stalingrad, another crucial victory, was also fought during the winter months. The Soviets, using their winter warfare tactics, were able to encircle and trap the German Sixth Army, leading to one of the most decisive defeats in German military history. The Soviets, through their understanding and adaptation to winter warfare, emerged as a force to be reckoned with. Their ability to turn the harsh climate into a weapon of war had a profound impact on the Eastern Front's outcome, demonstrating the art of winter warfare in action. The harsh winters not only tested the resilience of the armies, but also played a critical role in shaping the outcomes of key battles. Let's delve into the canvas of history and paint a picture of some key battles where the Soviets' prowess in winter warfare tipped the scales in their favor. These victories, etched in the annals of history, symbolize the turning points in the war, showcasing the indomitable spirit of the Soviet forces against all odds. The Battle of Moscow, fought during the winter of 1941-42, is one such instance. The extreme cold, reaching as low as -40 degrees Celsius, proved disastrous for the ill-prepared German troops. Meanwhile, the Soviets, well acquainted with such harsh conditions, launched a counter-offensive, pushing the German forces back from the outskirts of Moscow. This marked the first major setback for Hitler's war machine, signifying the formidable resistance the Soviets were capable of. Next, we witness the Battle of Stalingrad, from August 1942 to February 1943. The brutal winter played its part here too. The German forces, already exhausted from the relentless urban warfare, found themselves ill-equipped to handle the ruthless winter. On the other hand, the Soviet forces, seasoned in winter warfare, capitalized on this advantage, encircling and eventually capturing the German Sixth Army. This victory marked a significant turning point in World War II, signaling the beginning of the end for the Axis powers. Lastly, the Siege of Leningrad, lasting from September 1941 until January 1944, was one of the longest and most destructive sieges in history. The Soviet forces, demonstrating their resilience and adaptability, withstood the harshest winter conditions, eventually breaking the siege and dealing a significant blow to the German forces. The winter victories on the Eastern Front marked a shift in the tide of World War II. These victories, achieved amidst the unforgiving winters, showcase not only the Soviets' mastery of winter warfare, but also their unwavering resolve to defend their land, regardless of the challenges they faced. The Eastern Front, with its harsh winters, painted a unique tableau in the annals of warfare. It's here that the Soviet Union's capacity to adapt and thrive under the most grueling conditions became a pivotal force in shaping the course of World War II. The bitter cold, the relentless snow, and the endless frostbite-prone nights were more than just a backdrop to the conflict. They were an integral part of the story, a silent ally to the Soviets, and an unrelenting adversary to the Germans. The winter weather didn't just chill the bones of the soldiers, it froze German machinery, stalled their advancements, and shattered their morale. The Soviets, on the other hand, had long before learned to dance with the winter. They understood her rhythms and respected her power. The winter was their home turf, and they used it to their advantage, employing tactics and strategies that turned the tide of the war in their favor. They utilized their knowledge of the terrain and the weather to stage successful counterattacks, ambush German troops, and disrupt supply lines. The resilience and resourcefulness they displayed in the face of such extreme conditions is nothing short of remarkable. It's a testament to human adaptability and the will to survive. The Eastern Front was not just a war fought with guns and bombs. It was a war fought with woolen coats, frostbitten fingers, and snow-covered boots. It was a war where the weather dictated the terms of engagement, and where victory was often determined not by who had the most firepower, but by who could best endure the cold. The significance of the Eastern Front lies not just in its scale or brutality, but also in the lessons it imparts. It serves as a stark reminder of the power of adaptation, the importance of understanding one's environment, and the role of climate in military strategy. As we look back, the Eastern Front stands as a testament to how the harshest climates can serve as the greatest allies in the theater of war.